So what I find myself wondering about is how the legal perspectives have been influenced. And another great Falcon, this guy, man, like he's the guy who should be narrating Disney movies, right? And I'm talking about my brother John. And I met him actually in the lobby going to interview to try to become a Falcon for Leadership Las Vegas, and just phenomenal guy, like super jolly, right? I mean, one of those, when they laugh is so deep and it brings happiness.
Got that voice.
Yeah. So you'll find that he's gonna bring you a lot of good perspective from the legal side of the house and how it's impacted them. How do you do cases and how do you do law during a pandemic?
Yeah. Okay. Make sure I bring that out. Well, thank you, John, so much for meeting up with me at your beautiful, beautiful house here in downtown Summerlin. It's a great day out. The sun is definitely coming, but I'm glad we had this time to set aside to just talk about this, not only the pandemic, but also the good thing that's happening from it. So, John, what exactly do you do?
I'm an attorney in town.
Okay.
And it certainly has impacted my business and my profession. We had to end up closing our law firm on March 17th nationwide and had to immediately start working from home. We're hoping to be able to get back to an office by the end of the month. So fingers crossed, hopefully we'll be able to do that. But I certainly do recognize that I am one of the lucky people in this whole pandemic and that I have the ability to work from home.
Yeah.
And I've been able to keep an income coming and being able to keep some semblance of normalcy going forward, even though I was working from home.
Okay, so what is a normal day like in the office?
At the office would normally be I'd get to the office, start addressing emails, phone calls, working with clients, possibly going to court, just depending upon what the day brings. Every day's a little different.
Okay.
But a lot of that was immediately cut short as soon as the pandemic started, because the court system had to immediately change. All the trials were put off. And people had to start working remotely. Now, like in the federal courts were already used to working remotely, but the state courts had to make some changes. But I think in the end, it's probably all for the better.
Yeah.
There's certainly ways of streamlining, and I think whenever you're hit with any kind of adversity, it forces us. What do they say? It's the mother of ingenuity, and that. When you've had this kind of a hardship, it forces us to be more creative and to figure out better ways to address a problem, or even to better ways to address it.
No, I completely agree. Whenever you're trying to solve a problem, you can't go into the problem with the same level of consciousness that you had before. You got to think above and beyond that. So now that that you're home, what is a normal day like at home now that you have now all this time? Is it better? You liking it? You enjoying it?
I have discovered I am not as good of a person working from home.
Okay, so you want to.
I need a little bit more structure
Yeah.
with an office and be able to go to an office and be able to get away from the office. I enjoy my work. I enjoy doing my work, but I would like to be able to leave it at the office and come home and be able to have a little bit of my home be my solitude.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, now my work is intertwined and interconnected with my solitude. I don't have as much solitude anymore.
Well, I mean, they have me teleworking, so it's the same thing, because I like going to the office. I like waking up knowing that I'm actually going somewhere, and I like the people I'm always around and can say hi, good morning to. But now I'm at home working on the computer. It's very different, because like my wife comes into the room and I'm trying to work on the design. You say, hey, you want this, you want that? And in my mind, I'm like, no, I don't want anything. I just want to get this done. The kids come into the room, hey, can we eat here later on? I was like, oh my goodness. I remember the day you used to text me and tell me what you want for dinner. Now you can actually just come into my room,
Right.
which is my office. And now we have to, decide on what's for dinner. So those things have changed. Anything fun that's been happening, since all this stuff started? Anything exciting?
Oh, I don't know that there's anything fun or exciting. It feels like everything's been put off. We had a big trip planned that we were going to go on to Asia that obviously had to be canceled. And we like a lot of traveling, and we've had to curtail that. So actually, we were talking the other day that we need to look for another opportunity to get out, and hopefully now that things are going to start lifting, that we can find a little getaway for a weekend or something. But other than that, no, we've been really trying to abide the guidelines, stay home, and do our part to be able to, flatten the curve and help the state.
Yeah. So what is one of the first things you want to do as soon as this things start opening up, and like now you're free to go here or there, and you have to worry about always wearing a mask and all this distance? So what's one of the first things you want to do?
Oh my God, I'm going to a restaurant.
Yes.
I'm going to a restaurant.
Yes. Can't wait till you hear that sound from the waitress or the waiter. Hi, my name is Kevin. What can I get for you today?
Right. Absolutely.
I mean?
I recognize things are going to be different going forward, but just to be able to go out and be around other people, I'm looking forward to that again.
Yeah, me too. So how do you think the law system may alter or adapt or change, maybe in a good way, going forward? What do you think may happen with that?
I think that certainly from a technology standpoint, things are going to be more convenient.
Yep.
And I think we've now put into place systems that demonstrate that you don't necessarily have to be in an office. I think a lot of law firms are already starting to move the direction of allowing people to telecommute and be able to have alternative schedules.
Yes.
But I would not be surprised if in the next couple of years we start seeing more consolidation within office space in a firm, even to the point where maybe attorneys are sharing offices and coming in on alternate days. I think that there's going to be financial pressures that are going to force the way that we've done business in the past to change.
Yes. Do you think maybe in the possible future that instead of meeting with a client, you better meet with them like on Zoom or something like that, or you think that part of it will always be like you got to meet them person to person because of confidentiality?
That is certainly a critical issue is the confidentiality and whether or not a system is secure.
Right.
And that's very critical for attorneys in their communication with the clients. And one of the reasons why it's always, even when email started becoming the main source of communication between attorneys and clients, the ABA and numerous bar associations had to issue recommendations on how to communicate via email. I'm sure as Zoom and the other video conferencing systems become more prevalent and they get a little bit more experience now on their belt, because I don't think they were ready for what was coming with this whole pandemic.
No way.
And to put in the infrastructure that they needed. Yep. But I think once they have more infrastructure and better security measures in place, certainly there are ways that that attorneys and clients can communicate without necessarily having to be in person.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John. If there's one thing you can share with folks that may need some encouragement, one thing you can tell them that will, keep them on a positive uprising, what would be one thing you can share with them?
Well, I know it's cliche, but
Yeah.
I think we really are all in this together.
Yes.
And I recognize fully that term has started to become overused, but every day it just seems to me that there is always another example where people are helping one another. People are they recognize that they have neighbors, that we're all in the human race together, and that everyone's just trying to get by and trying to get through this. I think that there's a lot of frustration being exhibited now, but I think once things open back up again, I hope that what this has taught us is it's hit the reset button. Yeah. I hope that our lives that we had been living, that were so fast paced and so incredibly focused on ourselves, that we've had an opportunity to simmer it down and recognize that there are other things in life, that while it's important to work, it's important to make money, there are a lot of other important things in life too, that the work and money only provide an opportunity for.
Hey, I can't say that any better. Well, thank you so much, John, for your
Absolutely.
time. This was awesome. Thanks for inviting me over.
Absolutely.
I didn't even get to say, oh, you have such a nice house. It was strictly business, but I really appreciate everything, man.
You're welcome. Thank you.
No problem.
That was easy.
That was easy.
And we were going to talk to some other people in education, but one of my friends, fellow Falcon Michelle Jackson, who represents Junior Achievement, where they focus on young kids and getting them going in the right direction when it comes to education. I got to go to a Junior Achievement luncheon where these young kids they're fifth graders. They're talking about they're creating inventions, and they created slideshows and did presentations and speaking in front of a large audience. These educators who talk to these young kids coming up in Las Vegas who are watching this happen, right? Watching this happen. It will be curious to see if that changes, evolves, or how they will show the way for our young kids in the future to plant those seeds and grow.
Okay, Michelle. All right. Well, thank you, Michelle, for inviting me here to this beautiful room with all these inspiring quotes, all these good messages. I feel like I'm in a aura of positivity. I know there's a whole lot of negative things going on with this COVID and pandemic, but how are you holding up to this pandemic? How's everything going with you?
Yeah, we're doing okay. It's been a stressful time. It's been a time of figuring things out and figuring out how to do things differently. Our team has been really good though at doing that. Yeah. And really good at innovating right now. Yeah. But in my role, it has been a struggle to help us to bring in the funding that we need because all of the attention has been focused on supporting everything with COVID-19. So, we've seen loss in funding being redirected to efforts to feed people, and totally get that, totally understand. We've got to take care of our community. We have to make sure that they are getting the basic needs of life. But it's also showed me with Junior Achievement, with what we teach, that what we're teaching is critical because nobody was prepared for this. And a lot of people in our community were even beyond not prepared to handle this. Yeah. And, so, as Junior Achievement, we focus on teaching kids about how to manage their money, how to get ready to be part of the workforce, how to become entrepreneurs. And we know in Vegas that 64% of the kids in our school district are living by way of free and reduced lunch support. So, that's a measure of the poverty level that our community is in. And that's got to change. And when COVID-19 hit, not only did we see those people get hit even harder, but suddenly we had people that we probably wouldn't have expected needing things like basic needs like food.
Yeah.
And so we have to change that situation. But at the same time, we've all got to get through this. We've all got to get beyond this current situation so that we can continue to have programs like Junior Achievement. And so, that's really been our focus, has been trying to provide the community with inspiration, our kids especially, giving them the chance to continue to dream about tomorrow and the future. And, that this is just a period in time that's going to pass, and they have a future beyond this. And that's really been our focus, has been developing virtual programs that we could deliver online with a live volunteer to students in the classroom. We were able to reach, before the school year wrapped up, 8 different classrooms, well over 200 students
That's really
that
good.
signed up, got engaged, participated through their teacher and their schools. And it's been good for us too, because we know that when school goes back in the fall, it's going to be different.
Yes.
It's going to look different. They haven't figured out what that different is yet, but we know that we're going to have to be ready to provide programming virtually. We're going to have to be prepared to train our volunteers to do that. And I actually think we're going to have some people that maybe couldn't get away from the office before and come volunteer in the classroom with us, that are suddenly going to be able to volunteer and participate because they can do it right there from their desktop.
Yeah. So I know that it takes a lot of discipline to do, I'm not saying homeschooling, but when you're going to college online, it does take a lot of time management and discipline to do so. So in what ways can Junior Achievement doing this thing more virtually, what kind of challenges is that facing? Or is it could it be a little bit easier that way? Or is it better when you have that face-to-face one-on-one time?
I still think that the face-to-face, being in the same room with that volunteer is different.
Okay.
Because you have the ability to read your audience a little bit better. If you're on a Zoom call or Google Meet, whatever the platform you're using, you can't see all the students.
No.
You can't necessarily see the way they're dressed. If they maybe came to school with their hair brushed and or maybe they didn't, it's just a different environment that you're not able to really assess the situation and be able to see the kids that maybe you need to spend a little bit more time with as a volunteer. Focus on them, make them feel special for even just that moment. Let them know that you're this completely outside person from their life that just stepped in for this day, but you believe in them. And that blows kids' minds.
Yeah.
When a volunteer that does not know them at all walks in and looks at them and says, you know what, you can do this. You can be successful. You can accomplish what you want to accomplish. You have dreams. You can pursue those dreams. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to show you the ropes and take away the fear and remove the rose-colored glasses and help you see the path to get there. And bring back that inspiration, because I think that's what makes me the saddest is when I go into classrooms and I see kids that they've kind of lost that light in their eyes. They've kind of just accepted that this is where I'm at. This is all I'm going to be able to accomplish in life. And when you can go into a classroom and you can change that dialogue in their mind and help them, that's when we give kids the ability to start wanting to learn. And JA really takes everything that you're learning in the classroom and they help students understand why it's important.
Yeah.
They show the connection to it and becoming an adult, and it's not so arbitrary anymore. So
well, not only for teenagers and high school, middle school students, but adults.
Yeah.
So the junior, and also Junior Achievement, but we need Senior Achievement, because financial literacy, I know it gives me hope when you know and see numbers and you're realizing like, no, I don't have to live by this standard or by in this environment. If I educate myself, it gives me hope to know that I can live way above this. There's a lot of kids that don't think they can live above it because when they go home, this is it.
Right.
You know, their environment, they believe that's who they are.
Right.
You know, and it takes a program like yours for them to see more than that, because like, you know, maybe their parents can't teach them, or they got family members that's all they know as well. So, you know, it's a sad thing, because I know the number. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know the numbers are pretty like disappointing when it comes to the school district of how many kids are, you know, at the poverty level when they're going to school.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know the numbers, but I know it's gotta be pretty bad.
Yeah, we're talking 64% kids qualify for free and reduced lunch. Just in our schools here in Southern Nevada.
See, and that's actually the parents.
Yeah.
You know, it's the parents really that on that, you know, probably love unless the kids are, you know, taking care of the household, you know. But how are things like at the home? How are they dealing with it? Like, is it, you know, they're more happy, you know, kids are more free, or your kids like, do they like, you know, do they like going to school?
My son liked going to school.
He did, yeah.
You know, there were certain things he didn't like, certain things he didn't like working on, but he's super social, and this has been hard on him. And not being able to see people, not being able to have that interaction with other kids and play. You know, we've had some play dates here and there that we've done with people that we're close to, that, you know, that we're friends with, and he's had some friends with, but it's not the same as every day. You know, they don't get that daily time on the playground. They don't get that daily time in the classroom with each other.
Nope.
And I think it's been harder on our kids than it has on anybody in this situation, because they weren't designed to deal with this.
Right.
And not that us as adults have been designed to deal with it either. So.
Well, that's an understanding level, because right now, as an adult, I understand why we have to make certain distance restrictions, but as kids, we don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care if I got hurt, you know, on the you know, jungle gyms, and, you know, scraping my leg, you know, riding my bike. I didn't care about none of this. I laughed that stuff off. You know, at the time it hurted, but afterwards I'm like, that was cool, you know. We need that, you know, and virtually it's cool, but there's nothing like that, you know, I can play with you, you know. Same way with sports, you know. I'm hurting because I love basketball. You know, I can't wait for the season to start back. But how do you think the school is going to restart? How do you think that's gonna you know, impact going forward how educators are teaching their kids?
You know, it's just so all over
the
place. You know, I mean, I've talked to people at the school district, and then I'm on some, you know, social media groups that are focused on parents in the school district, and you know, the dialogue's all over the place. Yeah. I feel like we're gonna have to let people make their own decisions to some extent. I do believe that the schools should open up, and they need to open up in the fall, but it might be better for some families to make the decision to not let their students go back if that's what their comfort level is.
Absolutely.
You know, I've seen, you know, what they're doing in Arizona, what some of the things they're looking at doing with, you know, plastic wrapping the whole classroom, where, you know, here's my desk, and we have a big wall of plastic between us, and then I got a wall of plastic in front of me, and this is kind of open here, but, you know, the other child's desk is way over. For me personally, I think that will just cause more trauma.
They'll try to
for
mess
the kids.
Up plastic.
I
know what I would do. Putting
them in that environment, not to mention, you know, just obstructing your view to be able to see the whiteboard or the teacher. I'm not sure. I'm not either.
But
I do know that there are definitely people that want the schools to open back up. They think the schools should open back up in the fall, and there are definitely people that feel the other way. You know, for our family, it's not realistic for our son to do distance learning for, I don't know, in perpetuity till someone decides that it's safe.
Yeah.
Unless we want to go back to the 1950s and somehow our economy changes to that point where a parent can stay home with the children and suddenly become the teacher. But even then, even the 1950s, the kids were still going to school.
Yes.
Mom was staying home and taking care of the home, taking the kids to school, picking the kids up from school at the end of the day. But that social interaction was still there.
Yeah.
I think that's what the long-term impacts of social distancing over for a very long period of time, that concerns me.
Yeah.
It concerns me the psychological effects, the social impacts of our kids being able to just communicate with each other. And I mean, you learn a lot.
You can ask questions. You get the opinions of the other kids. You can see the look on their faces. There's a whole lot of, I would say, intangible things you learn by being in the classroom versus doing something virtual. You don't get everything.
Yeah.
You don't get everything. And that human interaction, being there with them, that presence alone is worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. But if there was one thing, that you've learned since, all this stuff started, what would be that thing that you can share with people?
It's hard to pick one.
Yeah, I'm trying to be, if it's multiple, then go ahead. But, me, I've learned that, we're a whole lot more resilient, and we're a whole lot more caring than we think we are. I realize that communication, it matters so much, and you really miss that when you can't just go up to a person's house, or we take things for granted.
Yeah.
That's readily available, especially in this city, because it's not a huge city. That's one thing I definitely took for granted is, wow, I could have visited that person more. I could have came over, there more. There's a whole lot of things I could have done more, but I didn't value it because it was so available to me.
Yeah, I think for me, probably it's that social interaction has really has changed things, and that has really impacted just my desire to be around other people. I want to be around other people. I want to spend time with other people. But it's also, I think another big impact is just what we can do without too. So, there's a lot of things that we've been able to scale back on our family. And, just in preparation and trying to be good with our resources and make sure that we're setting up our family for whatever might come along.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess trying to live the mission of junior achievement to some extent in our home. And
that's the best example.
We've learned to make do with less, and there's a lot of things we don't need. I don't miss the traffic. Mm-hmm. I don't miss the 35-minute or so, commute here and back at night. But I do miss the people and the social interaction.
Of course, me too. I'm only going 2 days a week at work right now, and I feel charged up. Even though it's not a long commute, but when I get there, it's like, wow, I do miss these people.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you
for your time and your positive words. But I'm gonna get some shots around here, of this positive room.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Also representing education and some other Falcons that make up the group. You got Oksana and you have Sarah, who they can speak from business and then they can speak from education. I'll be curious to see as you go to see them, how that plays out and how they've been impacted and how they plan to influence Las Vegas with their different backgrounds. Phenomenal leaders, and generationally there's a little bit of difference too. So you might get some depth and some history when you go and talk to them.
Oksana, thank you so much for meeting me here in beautiful downtown Summerlin, next to this big old jungle gym. We know it's the summer's coming out. I know it's getting ready to be hot, but we still have this this COVID thing going on. But if you can briefly tell us, Oksana, what do you do?
Sure. I am a merger and acquisition advisor with IBG Business, and I help owners sell their large companies. So as a result, I talk a lot with business owners who are selling, I talk a lot with buyers, and I talk a lot with advisors. And as you can well imagine, things are all over the board. I have business owners that are doing so incredibly well, but yet they don't know what the future will hold. I have other business owners that are holding steady and nothing has really changed for them. I have some business owners that their business has temporarily declined and they expect it to pick up slowly in the very near future. And I have some business owners who frankly have almost no hope to survive this situation. Now, Las Vegas was very hurt during the Great Recession, and it took us a lot longer to recover than most cities in the United States. So what does that mean? Did that mean for business owners? If somebody wanted to sell in 10, 11, 12, they really couldn't because there was no market for those businesses. So these owners weathered the recession. They really built up their businesses. Really things started to pick up here about 14, 15, so 16, 17, 18, 19 were good years. And now the values of these businesses have come to the point where the owners were once again ready to sell, and now this pandemic hits and valuations have declined. The good news is there are still a lot of good buyers out there looking for good companies, and these buyers are not only bottom feeders. Since the lockdown started about March 15th, I've had several serious discussions with potential buyers on some of my companies, and more than just a look-see, people are diving deep and determining whether the enterprise is right or not. Now, COVID does play a role, and some people feel that a business they won't invest in a particular business because of the COVID situation, but others are going ahead and deals are happening. They're also happening a little slower because we can't get together or could not get together for the last 2 months to have a site visit, to have a face-to-face meeting, and that's also very important, especially if you're going to work together on a going forward basis. The other situation, though, is that the companies that were doing well before COVID are the ones that buyers are looking for. So what does it mean that a company is doing well and a company is an attractive candidate? That means that an owner knows his customers. Our owner has a good source of suppliers and a wide array of suppliers. It means that the company and the owners understand their financials. They understand their marketing. They understand their business. And therefore, when you look at and they have policies and procedures in place. So when someone's looking at the business, they see that the business is less risky than a business whose accountant is someone's grandmother in the basement on a slip of paper. So what the lesson is for all our businesses through this pandemic is that you have to focus on making sure that your business is run properly and that you understand the business of your business and that you're working to the future and growth of the business to make it always an attractive candidate, regardless of what the economy is doing to us.
All right. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to come into your home. See a lot of interesting stuff over here, and I'm glad we got away from the monotony of just talking about work and the COVID, and now we can get to more, fun and interesting stuff. So, what do we got going on over here?
Sure, Mark, thank you, and welcome to my home. Not only am I an M&A advisor, I'm also a wife and a mother, and I have 2 college daughters, both of whom moved back to our home during this time period. And in some ways it's been really great, Mark, because we haven't lived together as a family in 3.5 years. My older daughter graduates next week from college and she'll be moving to Boston, so this has been a really special time for us. And we decided that even though it's a rough time, we were going to try to make the best of it and keep our spirits up as much as we possibly could. So one of the things we decided to do is let everybody do their own breakfasts and lunches, but at 6 o'clock every night we would have dinner together. And the goal was never to have the same dinner twice. And if you walk over here to my kitchen, you will see our array of Post-it notes. And I list the day, the date, as well as what we're having for dinner. And we've had some quite fabulous meals. Over here on April 22nd, we had jambalaya and corn on the cob. On the 14th, we had chicken parmesan with zucchini spirals and gluten-free pasta.
I love it.
We've had chili with sweet potatoes. On Saturday nights or Friday nights, we do formal dinner and everyone has to get dressed, put on a jacket or a dress, makeup, hair, and we sit in the dining room and we take out the china and we sit down to a formal evening. Usually first we have appetizers with a specialty drink, and that's the nights we have dessert. So this is an example. Our first formal dinner on March 28th, we had a beef with mushrooms and onions in a soy butter with mashed potatoes, green beans, and a lemon sorbet with blueberry sauce.
That sounds delicious.
Yesterday was my daughter's birthday, so we opted for a cocktail party as we Zoomed with friends and family. So we had lobster avocado cocktail, stuffed mushrooms, meats, cheeses, and a red velvet cake.
Oh, you still have the cake?
Yes, we most certainly do. I'll ask Gladys to get it out of the fridge for me in just a second. My daughter baked it. We had another birthday party and one of my daughters made the tiramisu, which was absolutely fantastic. But this was yesterday with the melted candles on it. So we try to entertain ourselves.
Sorry.
No worries.
It looks really good.
But we can't only eat nonstop, so we've also taken to doing jigsaw puzzles. This is almost the end of a 2,000-piece puzzle. We finished quite a few others of 1,000 pieces. This is the most challenging. It's a little scene in Italy.
Yes.
And all the pieces look alike, so it is quite difficult.
Anybody with a photographic memory?
And the next one we had, if we had to stay longer, was another 2,000 piece similar to that one, but this one was called Cabin Fever.
Oh my, that one looks harder.
They're all pretty challenging. And since we eat a lot, obviously, we decided that we also had to have some exercise, but we didn't have any exercise equipment, so we've created our own. We use the vodka bottles for weights. They serve great for triceps and for rows.
I love it.
We also use hula hoops that we picked up at the dollar store. And these are our hand weights, the club soda cans, and the sauerkraut. We used to have corn, but we ate them, so we had to move on to something else. And then we picked up some exercise bands.
I love it.
Have quite a number of games, and we try to move from one to the other. Scrabble, Uno, Relative Insanity, Would You Rather, Blockus, we've pretty much gone through them all.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I love the way you guys got very innovative and very creative. Instead of throwing away stuff, you use them as goods to work out because gyms are closed right now, and you find a way to buy the time. So that's great. I'm gonna definitely try some of that cake. But before we do so, do you have any final words? Something you can tell people, to find some creative ideas to, make sure that their stay at home is not so, so challenging all the time. What sparked this thing of, to break up the monotony of just the same old routine? What helped bring this stuff out, like with the Post-its and stuff?
Well, I think it was needing to keep everybody, when my daughters moved back in, they had lived their own lives and they had different tastes in what we were eating and what we were doing. And it started as a signal to them of what we're having for dinner. So you can choose what you're going to eat from there. And if it really doesn't please you, make sure you have enough for breakfast and lunch so that you can just pick around and eat one of the items. And then it grew. My daughters are encouraging me to put a COVID cookbook together. Unfortunately, I cook a lot as I'm going along. I add and subtract, and so it would be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll try that anyway. You know, we made a deal to give each other the space that we needed. And so everybody has enough room, which is nice, and everybody has the right to be in the room when they want to. Everybody has the privilege of locking themselves away when they need to. But we do ask that everybody come together for dinner because it gives us a chance to check in, to see how everybody's doing. Is anybody not sleeping? Is anybody having bad dreams? Is anybody freaking out on that particular day? Because it's rare that all four of us freak out at the same time. But we all do have really bad days. But the support that we have from each other and the constant communication is really very helpful. And in the end, we in this particular house have a roof over our heads, and we have food to eat, and we're safe, and we're not threatened by violence. I know that's not true for everyone, but it is a great place. It is a good situation to be in. And, you know, so we earn less money. Some years we'll earn more money. As long as Total Wine is delivering, we're fine.
Amen to that. Well, thank you so much, Roxanne, for those amazing words and, you know, inviting me to your home and your humble spirit. I really, really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Can I get you something to drink, Mark?
Thank you so much, Sarah, for meeting me. I know we were here at Oksana's house, but this is a beautiful venue. You know, nice day outside, but it's a lot cooler in here. And, and I know, Sarah, that you're a teacher.
Yes.
Clark County School District.
Yes, sir.
So how has it been since the middle of March?
So I teach kindergarten through 5th grade STEM. I'll be honest, we had a leadership meeting on that Friday, and so I didn't get to say goodbye to my kids. So when it came on Sunday, my heart was broken. We had teachers that were in the classroom preparing to turn some of the rooms into carnivals to get ready for the students doing the SBAC testing. So broke my heart, but teachers are resilient and kids are resilient, and we decided to step up. So even though we didn't have directive that first week, a lot of my teachers, we hopped on calls, we were reaching out to families, seeing what can we do for the community, because at the heart and soul of a teacher, it's kids.
Yes.
And it's taking care of those kids. So we were contacting families, seeing if they needed food, making sure they knew the food schedules, also making sure, did you need, you know, anything from us? Like, do you need pencils? Do you need paper? Do you need technology? What is it that we can do for you? So when it finally came out, like, we're gonna do distance learning and things like that, our teachers, we'd already rolled into it, which is fabulous. And I know not every community has that same support, but I'm very lucky to be in a place where we do. So our kids have been jumping on calls, joining things for, you know, whether it's jumping on just to talk to their teachers and classmates, or they just want to listen to a book. And our main goal is to take care of our kids socially and emotionally. You know, at the crux of it, our kids need food, shelter, and food, shelter, and, you know, some love. So we wanted to make sure they got that. Academics has been pushed on the back burner, but kids are going to be okay. They're all going to be behind, and it's all right. We're okay. We just want to make sure that our kids are happy and healthy. And so every week we've been contacting, it's our directive, we have to contact our families every week, but we're doing that. And I've just seen such a supportive community coming together. We had one family that had some horrible things that had happened, and I reached out to my leadership community. I reached out just on Facebook and Twitter, and hey, if anybody could help this family, they're behind on rent, they need this, they need that. We raised quite a bit of money for that family, and they're going to be able to stay where they're at for quite a few months due to the community coming together. And it's just been inspiring and amazing to see outside of education, everybody's coming together. So whether it's, hey, we need to make masks for people, or we need to do this, everybody is excited to jump on. And one of my friends in Colorado was making the ear savers for the nurses to wear. And I was like, all right, I got to do it. And luckily I had my 3D printers from school. I had grabbed those. That was one of the things I was like, I feel like I'm gonna need these. So I was very blessed that my principal let me take those home, and we had gotten donated filament. So I've been pumping those out like crazy and giving them to, you know, whoever needs them, because it's a time when we need to come together, and there's a lot of nasty, ugly things going around. But if you're in a place where you can give and where you can support and where you can love, just do it. Nobody's ever upset anybody who's just trying to be kind. So that's really what we've been trying to instill in our kids. And within my house, there's 3 of us in a 1,200 square foot house. It's very tiny. You can hear it. I found out that everybody is loud on Zoom calls, no exceptions. And so we've all been getting a lot of space and making sure that we're all taking care of each other. I have my bad days. The other people in the house have their bad days, but it's okay because we try to come together to make sure that we're all staying sane and staying happy. And there's been 3 different levels of concern in our house. I'm probably in the middle where I'm not super nervous to go out, but I'm still, washing my hands, following procedures. Someone that's living in our house is much on the extreme side, doesn't want to go out, is just very nervous to do all that. And then the other person living with me is, careful, still very careful, following protocols and things, but is ready to go out. So it's been a blessing for me to realize everybody has different opinions and different beliefs and what they think, and we just need to be respectful of that right now. And I'm a person who is go, 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 go. So 60 days of sitting inside, oh my goodness, it has killed me. But it's also made me reflect on what is important to me, and also made me focus on self-care, making sure I'm reading those books I wanted to do. Today, I finally got to clean my stove, which sounds super exciting, right? But it was one of those things that had been on my mind for a long time, and I just knew I'd feel better if I did it. And we always want time. Yes. Everybody asks for more time, and we've just gotten done with 60 days of time.
Yes.
And well, hopefully we won't have to go through this again. I hope that people are more kind. And we take the time to appreciate the people that we're with, and we take the time to, just be a little bit kinder, a little bit softer, a little bit nicer. And not everybody's doing that right now, but if you can be the person that can do that, because people still, get me pretty upset and hot and bothered, but at the end of the day, if we're just being kind, then it's not going to be so bad.
Yeah, well, you have such an optimistic, personality and point of view, Are you optimistic that the school, the next start of school will be on time?
I'm optimistic, so I hope. I want that, but at the core of it, it's up to our kids. So if we don't feel that our kids are going to be safe, then we won't do it. But I actually just got a text, and my principal was asking, what can we do to prepare our teachers just in case we do need to go online?
Yes.
And luckily, we're in a position where our principal is always thinking ahead of what's going to happen. How can we do this? When other teachers I know that were just sitting at home because they didn't know what to do, because leadership didn't know what to do with them yet, our principal was like, all right, you don't have to do this technically, but I want you to get started with this, because our kids deserve it.
Yes. I agree. When I was in high school, my electronic teacher, he said all students deserve to have 2 things. They deserve to learn and to be safe.
Yes.
As long as you can help create and support that environment, your student will be successful if they apply themselves in the right way.
Yes.
So that's great. I really can't add any more to that. You were, so awesome. If there's any last words you can give to your students, what would it be right now?
My kids, we miss you. We cannot wait to see you. And even with social distancing, we still want to love on you. We still want to give you hugs and high fives and fist pumps, and even if they have to be in the air for a while, we miss you, and I can wholeheartedly say we love you. Like that week when they told us we weren't coming back, it was just, we were as heartbroken as you were. So we miss you. We can't wait to see you. And to our 5th graders who we might not get to see because, they're going into 6th grade, I'm sure that we're going to have something planned because we are not going to let it go off without a bang.
All right.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
So
thank you, Mark.
much, Sarah.
Of course. Thank you.
This was awesome. You were great. You were so great.
Man, so who else? Like, we've gotten some perspective from education, but I think there's one more angle, and I want you to go see my sister Falcon Evelyn. She represents Safety, kind of the Fulfillment Fund nonprofit. She's actually also running for Clark County School District C trustee position.
Okay.
High energy, very passionate about the future. That I don't know, in our education system and how our kids need better and deserve better. Definitely going to give you some very inspirational and positive vibes on how education, how it sits, how it's impacted, and where it needs to go. All right.
feeling something special for you. And now you got me thinking till the
All right. Well, Evelyn, thank you so much for meeting me here at this beautiful Las Vegas Academy here at the heart of Vegas on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to you. I hope everything is going well. And, I don't know if you got a big breakfast this morning, but...
No, quite the opposite.
Quite the
I had
opposite.
donuts. I had donuts this morning.
Hey, those donuts are good too.
Yeah, they are.
They're good too. So we know there's a pandemic going on. We know that there's things that are out of our control.
Yes.
But the things that are in control of what we think, going forward and how we are reacting to what's going on. Yes. So Evelyn, would you mind telling us what you do?
Yep, absolutely. Thanks so much, Mark, for having me here today. My name is Evelyn Garcia Morales, and I have the privilege of helping high school students achieve their post-secondary dreams. So that may mean college, trade school, certificate programs. As the executive director of the Fulfillment Fund Las Vegas, we're a site-based program that helps young people get into college and stay in college. Since the closure of CCSD schools, we also had to close our physical doors. But really, I'm just so incredibly proud of what we've done as an organization. We went from overnight, really, from serving students on a high school campus to serving students online and digitally. And that means my team of staff, we've gone from doing one-on-one college counseling sessions to doing one-on-one sessions using on phone, email, really any way that we can reach a student, we will, and we have, because right now, the seniors, this is the time for them to really prepare and get ready for not only graduation, but the things that lead up to college. And so we've been working really hard, and I'm just so incredibly proud of me. We really no one expected any of this, right? No one expected any of this, but the reality is that we had to make swift changes, and my team has just moved so fast. And we use social media to reach a community at large. And really, one of the innovative things that we've done as a result of our work has been that we now are exploring how to serve more students online. So we used to only serve 1,800 students on a high school campus, but we're really exploring ways, really not allowing, using technology to allow us to serve more young people and their families through webinars about financial aid and how to pay for college. So it has been really a humbling experience to have to transition so quickly, but also be able to say, all right, what is our community need right now, and what do we have to do to make sure that our gifts, our assets, and our talent and knowledge can be utilized for more students, because the reality is that this information is free and it should exist everywhere, but it doesn't always necessarily people have access to it.
So I have a question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how have the students responded, like online and with the different avenues that you have, to get information for college, for scholarships and stuff? How have they responded to it?
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag of responses, and it's honestly because everybody's getting used to being online. Some of our students may not have access to technology or even phones. Some of our students are unhoused. I mean, I work at a high school where the majority of our students come from low-income homes, and it's a struggle. But our team is relentless, and we're hitting the pavement every single day online to try to reach students. And what we know and what we've discovered is that a lot of our students are on social media very frequently, right? So primarily Instagram is their main jam, TikTok as well. And we've tried a couple of TikTok videos to help students know that and let them know that we're still here, we haven't gone anywhere. It's been difficult. I can say that for sure, but we're trying. What we feel like we're doing every single day is like falling forward.
Yes.
We're falling forward, and we're trying new things, and we're not afraid to test something out. For example, a couple of weeks we tried a couple of webinars on career and support and helping them think about life after high school. But we didn't have a tremendous amount of success. So then we tried a different platform, and then a different platform, and then we're still not done testing things out. and I see it this way, like our students are worth the investment that we can offer them now. So if that means that we're constantly trying things just to make sure to see what sticks, then we really are, they ultimately win, but so do we. And we can't be afraid to test things out. And that's what I think that this moment of time is really forcing us to think about. How do we really redefine how we do business for the benefit of, in the organization, in the case of my organization, the benefit of others? Like, how do we redefine what we're doing now? Because the way that we used to do things won't be sustainable. Like, it's just not sustainable. So what do we need to do now to make sure that we're constantly testing and trying new things? And honestly, part of me wonders, like, why haven't we done this before? To some degree, like, why haven't we, as a society, as a community, thought about why it's so important for us to really see how we can constantly make things better? And I feel like we did that as an organization, but we were safe.
Yes.
We were safely trying things, and now we're like, hey, hold bar, everything is out the not everything's out the window, but we can test things out in a way that to ensure that our community gets what they need and what they deserve.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. How have the Falcons helped you in this, this journey that we're in right now?
My leadership class, Leadership Las Vegas, has been tremendous. My Falcons have inspired me every single day. We have people from all walks of life, from different industries, and they really have inspired. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Inspired me. They've filled my soul. I'm so grateful to have been, have been a participant of the program this year during the pandemic. They draw me. We draw each other closer together through social. We connect with each other on social media. We connect with each other via Zoom. We've had social hours in the evening using technology, and just phone calls, reaching out to one another and saying, hey, how are you? Checking in on one another, because that's what the Falcons do. I mean, they come together. We build community through this program, and then we've found ways to sustain it. For me, Leadership Las Vegas has really been a transformative experience. Aside from the connecting points, there were some moments in time in the program that I just walked away thinking, like, this is not okay. What's happening in our community is not okay, and we need to do something about it. We have to find a way to make this better. Criminal justice came and went, and I walked away feeling frustrated at how much of a struggle our young people in the criminal justice system, with the struggles that they have in the criminal justice system. Our young people, and I see this because of the work that I do with young people, right? I see how our young people, if they go down a certain path, they may have a completely different life. And while the goal of the criminal justice system for young people is to help them to help them stay away from the criminal justice system, the idea is that it's not perfect.
Yes.
And it pains me to think about how our system, there are multiple breaking points in the system. And I think that's the Leadership Las Vegas has given me that, lifted the veil for me, and has helped me see that there are multiple areas where the system is broken for our young people. And that really honestly inspired me. That was one of the reasons I was inspired to run for office. In addition to the fact that I have one of my Falcons who came to me one day. Her name is Oksana. She came to me one day.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah, Oksana is great. She is,
she's a fireball.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She came up to me one day and said, I need you to run for office.
Yeah.
And I said, excuse me? And I believe I was standing next to my partner, my husband, Victor, and she says to him, I don't know, Victor, what your plans are, but I just want you to know that Evelyn's going to run for office one day, and I hope you're okay with that. And Victor was like, yes, awesome. Let's do it. And so shortly thereafter, I mean, it may have been October, November, when we had that conversation, and then we had Criminal Justice Day, and then we had Education Day, and then shortly after, right before Education Day, I filed for a run for public office for Clark County School Board, District C, in which we're standing in.
Okay.
And Las Vegas High School is Academy. So,
yeah,
Las Vegas Academy is a school on District C. And then I started digging in, really right before I chose to run for office. I started to look into the numbers and really why this matters to me. The fact of the matter is that 40% of our students in this community in District C, which spans from Lone Mountain to Sahara and I-15 to 95, is 40% of our students are not on reading level in elementary school. Or they are, 40% of our students are on reading level in elementary school. And it's unacceptable. Like, our students need to read, need to be able to do math, need to be able to do well academically so that they are prepared for the next level.
Yes.
And I really believe that our students are, they are the message that we are sending into the future. Our young people are the message that we are sending into the future. And it is our responsibility as adults, people who work with young people, to ensure that we take care of that investment and we really pour into them now so that 10, 15, 20 years from now, they really have what they needed. They have the tools that they need to be successful and bring our community forward.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why I chose to run for office. And honestly, Leadership Las Vegas, my classmates, my partner, my family, like we all of those, there were several moments in the program throughout my experience that have led me to this really critical decision to run for office, which has maybe been one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever had to run for office, and during a pandemic of all times.
So Evelyn, going forward, what is one thing you can share that maybe could prevent something like this from happening next time, and something that you want the school district to adapt to where we'll be better equipped, if something like this happens again? What is one thing you would like put into place?
I think that one of the important things that our system has done successfully at some schools and maybe has not at other schools, definitely, and we saw the gaps in technology. Giving students access, one-on-one computer access to devices so that our students can easily transition, and preparing our teachers, preparing our students to be online and with a computer. I think that's really going to be important for our school system moving forward. There are some schools that are not part of the Clark County School District right now that were successful in transitioning their children from day-to-day school on a school campus to a digital environment. And it was tough. Like, no matter where you stand on all of these, no matter where you stand in the world of education, it was a tough transition. I believe that our system did the right thing by starting to feed our families first, and they did the food, breakfast and lunch options for our students in drive-up mode, and then we started giving away devices and work with different partners to bring Wi-Fi to communities. That's going to be really important, and we've got to think about scaling that. What does that look like for the future? Because the reality is that we want to believe, I want to believe that nothing like this will ever happen again. But we've got to prepare. We've got to prepare, just like in any emergency management system, any emergency management professional will tell you, like, you've always got to prepare for what's next. And the reality is that our kids are online anyways. They are already tech savvy. They are already, way ahead of the curve. So we say we want to prepare kids for the 21st century. No, we're not preparing them for now. We want to prepare them for the 22nd, 23rd, 24th century. This is not the century we want to prepare them for, because we're already backed up.
Right. We want to prepare for the next generation, the next century coming up.
Yes. And honestly, they could probably teach us more than we can teach them in that.
Yes, they are. It's almost like kids come out of the womb knowing how to use Instagram and Twitter and all this stuff. They just already know, like, how the heck do you know how to do that? Oh, you just do this and this and this.
I told you earlier that I have a 9-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And he goes to a STEM school here at CCSD, and he is he loves to code. He loves robotics, and he loves anything and everything that's based off of technology. So he spent during this quarantine, he spent a lot of time building games on using code.
Wow.
Anything from creating his own Pac-Man game,
to
a Connect 4 game, all digital, all through through code on the back end.
That's amazing.
It is, and this is the thing. Coding is like a second language.
Yes, it is.
for him. It will be for our kids because that's how apps are made. That our cars are set up with code. It's
that's the way of the future. It's the future.
It is. It is. So.
Well, thank you so much, Evelyn,
Thanks.
for your time. This was awesome information. I really hope you get the office and the school district, and they need someone like you, with a big heart that has the determination to really get things done and going in a good direction. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. I'm grateful for your time and energy and effort, and for bringing us together and putting this piece. I can tell that you're pouring a lot of love into this video, and I'm just so grateful for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mark, let me grab.
We haven't really talked about like banking in nonprofit, right? And so last but not least, Yusila, right? One, she's a Team Yellow, so Team Yellow shout out, right? But she really got me when it came to going to feed the homeless. She goes and feed the homeless once a month. But not only that, she does do mortgage. And I'd be very curious to see how mortgages were impacted if people pulled out of buying homes. I mean, I think there's some good perspective because I think Las Vegas, I know Las Vegas has been hit before when a bubble popped.
Yes.
And the real estate values crashed, or if a pandemic impacted people from getting paid, and were they able to survive? I know on Facebook there was a lot of talks about evictions when you can't evict, so I'd be curious. I think she'll bring a lot of good perspective to what you're looking for in capturing the recovery ground zero amongst all of the Falcons.
All right, Scylla, thank you for allowing me to get a little piece of your time at this beautiful facility on the second floor. So, Yusila, can you briefly tell us what do you do?
Again, my name is Yusila Koech, and I am a loan officer, 15 years in Las Vegas. I help people get mortgage loans for residential properties, and I just love working with people. That's what I do.
All right, so how has things been since the mid of March for you and your industry?
So for our industry, most people are already online. We had transitioned a couple years ago to clients being able to upload their documents, being able to do their application online. So there was a shift because we're used to still collaborating and working together in the office. But most of us were already used to working on laptops and working from home. So I just transitioned and I've been home since COVID began. We've had a little bit slower business than what we're usually used to, but we're super grateful that we're still able to work and help out people. The interest rates were low, so there are people refinancing, but also there's still people purchasing homes and closing on their first home. So it's kind of still fun to do, and I enjoy that.
So how's it been at home? Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, actually. Our family has always been, there's four of us, my husband and our two boys, 12 and 13. So we've always been very close, and we've had routines for years, things that we do and we stick to. We'll do challenge things for ourselves. But the last couple of months since COVID, we really stayed on schedule one. That was very, very important, is to stay on routine, still get up in the morning, still have breakfast, and then the boys were doing online school, so that was kind of fun to do. So they have something to do until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll have lunch together. In between, I make sure they drink their water because they still to get hydrated. And then in the evenings, for a while, we did RYK meditation center on Durango and Sahara has online live stream yoga. So we are a yogi family. We've done yoga forever. So we did that for a while, routinely at 5 o'clock on the dot. Everyone in the family knew. You assemble, and you know, wherever the teacher was, you took the class, which was fun. But it also made us a little tired. So then we had dinner, and then you go to sleep. So what was important for us was, one, routine. So we stayed on routine every day, and two, the boys still had school, so they still had homework to do and finish that up. But also, over the years, for us, something that we've done consistently is to read. So the boys have routines in the morning. One, you wake up, brush your teeth, you do all this stuff, but you also meditate. So there's a routine to their life that is very, very consistent. So they'll do that, and then they'll do their breakfast. And it's something that we don't necessarily have to say, hey, did you wake up? Can you do this? No, it's part of who they are, and that's what we do. They read books. One of the books that I made them read as young as they are is called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And that book just talks about perseverance and persistency, and how we succeed is not because we're really better than the next person. It's about the consistency and persistence of what we do, and really the perseverance of us as human beings. God created us to be able to survive. Like there's people in the Kalahari Desert that live and eat and survive every day. So it's not like this was a disaster, and it's something that's really, truly, truly painful, not underestimating the pain that so many people have gone through. But it was also an opportunity to reconnect as a family, to reconnect as a community. Our family has always been based off, our biggest things is one, family, two, faith, and community. So one thing that we did, despite all the other things that were going on in our lives, and watching the pain of people losing their jobs, people dying, the grief. We lost my children lost their grandmother in April to cancer, and we couldn't travel to be with family, to grieve. So we understand that, and we understand how painful that is. At the same time, we found ways to give to society. So for the last 4 years, we've always fed the homeless every third Wednesday of every month. So with COVID, we cannot go to the kitchen at Christ Episcopal and cook. And so my family, my husband and the boys, I ordered the sandwiches, we made it at home, and we delivered it to the church so that it can be handed out to 200 people. And the other thing that I did was sign up with Give Balls, P-U-L-S-E, I can never say that right. Keep pause. Giving with Dignity, Delivering with Dignity is actually what it's called. And it's by Elaine Wayne Foundation and other people with Puna Mather chairing that whole group. And I delivered food for 4 families. I picked it up, and it's for children that were identified through communities in schools and through the school system that have food insecurity. So 50% of the children in Clark County usually rely on food from the school. So I signed up, and I delivered to places in areas of town that were a little bit scary. In fact, one of them had a camera right in the entry of the community. And here I am innocently just drove in thinking it was just somewhere where I was just gonna deliver.
Yeah.
And it shook me a little bit, but we should never let fear determine what we do. So I delivered the food, and it felt really good to be able to give back in the midst of our grief, in the midst of coronavirus, in the midst of people losing their jobs and all of that. You still have to find something inside of you that you can give back, because when you do that, it makes your gratitude, one, right? You feel good about it, but also the other person, you're helping somebody on the other side, because it's not always about us.
Yes.
I think our society is taught us to always think everything is just us.
Yes.
We are, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go far, go with other people. If you want to go, you go alone, right? You can't go alone. We have to go with other people. I kind of paraphrasing that.
No, that's great. No,
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I always tell my kids, and I got this from a good friend of mine. He said, if everyone is giving, that means everyone's receiving. So, he saw it as a relief thing. People really do want to give.
Yes.
A lot of times they don't know what.
Yes.
Or they feel that what they're giving is not enough or won't be appreciated. I believe when we stop thinking about those things and then just give,
Yes.
let the results produce what you're going to feel afterwards, instead of thinking about how people's going to be reacted to it, or is it worth it?
Right.
You know what I mean? We have to stop giving up, those things,
And I think a lot of people felt helpless, not knowing how can I help? How can I give? And with delivering with dignity, for me, one, it was safe. I had my mask on, I had my gloves, they loaded the food in the car. I opened my trunk and I just drove in, and you knock on the door, you put the food, it's prepared food on the entrance, you wait for the person to open the door, you acknowledge, and then you go. So it's community is important, and giving. I grew up where I fetch water from the river. I walked to school. I had no shoes. Like this, things could be worse, right?
Yeah.
When you think that life is difficult, you think of people in Bangladesh or Mexico or in the slums of Nairobi where they can't even social distance, right? So there's no running water, and then for us in the Western world, there's running water, there's electricity, there's, even when things are really bad, things are still better.
Still really good.
Yes, these things are still really, really good.
Yeah.
So I'm a social person, so it's been a little bit difficult to not to be able to have friends over and cook. I love to cook. That's the other part of our family is we really learned to cook. I'm not a baking person. I don't bake. I do not like baking, but through this social, being at home, we've been able to. We baked banana bread on Friday, and it turned out really good. And the boys I was reading the instructions, and their job was to do the mix and put it in, and then we put it in the oven. Next morning, it was all done, and it was good. We cook a lot together, so the boys have practice, honing skills in survival, so that someday when they go to college, they're able to cook for themselves. So we've done that. We've done a lot of. We have a garden. So we've been working on, we have cilantro, we have some vegetables. We worked on our flower garden in the evenings, and we sit out and hear the birds. In the morning, sometimes we eat our breakfast outside because the weather has been beautiful. So to me, there's a lot of optimism, and this life after Corona will be just as good as, if not even better, because I think it's this short time that we've been away from shopping and doing things that you're supposed to do is kind of giving us a reflection of, do we need everything that we always buy? Are there things that we can live without? Right? Can we streamline our lives and become minimalist and realize maybe we had excess of things that we shouldn't have had? And then understanding that there is a lot more people around the world that have it worse than we do. And reflecting on that and trusting God, knowing that there's nothing that will happen to us that He hasn't already, prepared us for. And my belief is everyone has this fire inside all of us. There's something that inside that God in you, we are one with God. We're all created in God's image. So there's something to be said about being one with God. So there's nothing in us, right? We're just a spirit walking in this body. But there is more in us than we believe that God will give you the strength. You will find the inner energy, the drive to be able to overcome, the tribulations and the trials and the temptations and things that we go through every day. Is how do you reflect? How do you pause for a minute and try to figure out how do I solve even some of the problems around the world, food insecurity, for example. How can we in North Las Vegas build grocery shops, because that's part of the problem, right? They don't have food in North Las Vegas. Some places don't have places where people can buy good groceries? How can we solve medical issues? Can we have a grocery store that also has a clinic next to it where people can go and just get tested or get basic blood pressure,
Oh yeah,
just wellness things. So some of these things are things that we should all reflect on and figure out collectively as a society, because when people say we are in this together, I'm like, no, we're not all this together, because there's people that are extremely, the income inequalities are real. It's not like something that is not known. So how do we bridge the gap so that we can help the populations that need our help in order to basic needs, food insecurities, healthcare, that actually people are able to get treated for basic. Because if we have a health community, right, we have a health society. Business thrives because people are not sick. People don't have to call in high blood pressure, diabetes, things that are controllable through food and proper nutrition and things like that. So those are things that I think about, and I think as a society, I in my heart, I believe that humans are good. There's a lot of good people out there, and I come across them all the time in the community things that we do as a family and that I do personally. Leadership Las Vegas has been phenomenal. Amidst the Falcons, I am a yellow Falcon forever. The 58 people in my class are the most amazing, driven, caring, loving individuals that you'd ever met. And granted, what is when we did the privilege work, all of us come from very diverse, very different backgrounds.
Yes.
But if 58 of us can come together and collectively work together on these different issues that face our societies, and be able, like, I feel like I have a tribe. I have this group of people that I can just go to and talk to and together. So if we can spread that around the world and for people to see each other as one and as being able to help each other, if we stop looking at I and think just about me, because it's not about me. None of us is one, we will not live forever, and none of us can carry the wealth and things that we accumulate with us when we die, right? So you want to leave a legacy and things that are good to people, that when you go, people are like, okay, there's a void. That person left something. Like my mother-in-law, when she passed away, we were all really broken because she left a legacy of love and kindness and giving. She was the rock of the village of where we all grew up, where we fetch water, where, she was this person that gave of herself. And giving doesn't have to be money. Giving means time. So by me going to deliver food, I didn't give any money. I didn't prepare the food, but I gave of my time. And so if people are looking for something to do, it's not always about money. It's 2-3 hours every month and helping out other people and figuring out, understanding that we're all the same, right? God gave us all 2 eyes, mouth, same feet, everything. So we are one. We are, as a community, we look at each other as people that should really thrive and help each other succeed. And teamwork and banding together is exactly what we need right now. So as soon as this thing we're able to socialize, I miss my friends. I want to cook again and hang out, and but keeping the family together, reading, doing yoga, exercising. We biked this morning. They went for a bike ride, and my youngest fell and has a huge scrape on his leg. And Mark is saying it's okay because him and his brother used to do that. So I guess that's part of life. But we've tried to really keep fit and eat healthy and just stay positive. Like, don't let your mind wander into things you cannot control. Do the things that you've always loved to do, and also maybe change. Maybe this is the 1% time that you are able to really reflect and say, I want to get rid of those. And getting better at something, it's not a sprint. No. It's a marathon. Yeah. So you can change just a little bit of a few things every day. A little bit of things. It's not about being perfect. It's being better than yesterday is what we're looking for, right? And so just working through those and being able to support each other is very important.
Wow. I don't know what else to ask. You know, you did such an amazing job. I thank you so much for your kind and impactful words. This is exactly what, this is exactly what this is about. You know, it's not about, always the success at the end. It's enjoying, the journey, and what I tell my kids all the time, that the only thing in life that is certain that is uncertainty. That's the only thing in life that is certain is uncertainty, and I tell them it's not always what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. That's what separates everyone, is how they respond to certain things. And another thing I tell them is, don't see people in a group, see them as individuals. Yeah. Because as soon as you put people inside of a box or inside of a group, you're not included in that. Right. You need to stop doing that and think outside of that and see every person, as a human being, as you see yourself, and that will take you far. Now, is that hard? That is hard, but it's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be possible. It's meant for it to happen. You got to make it happen, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mark. And I hope that people out there, that you stay positive,
yes,
that you stay strong, that you find ways to channel your inner energy into something good, that you find ways to serve your community and serve your family. Learn new recipes, read new books, do some yoga, I don't know, do some stretching or something, meditate, and it should all be fun and blessings. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? Let me. I think first up, let me see if my buddy Burton Hughes.
Okay.
He's the GM Subaru Las Vegas, and this guy is phenomenal. Love, hope, a WTF, what the faith kind of guy, like nice. Super inspirational. Nice. Let me see if he's available.
Okay.
How you doing, Burton?
I'm doing great. I'm Burton.
How you doing, man? Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you too.
Well, thank you so much, man, for your time. I know it's early, bro, and I just appreciate you being here and meeting me here at this beautiful dealership. So, you ready, man?
Welcome home.
All right.
Welcome to Subaru of Las Vegas.
Oh, thank you, great. Thank you. Okay. There are no cars in here. Landscape. All right. Practice some social distancing.
I'm Burton Hughes, and I'm the general manager of Subaru of Las Vegas. We're part of the Finley Automotive Group here in Las Vegas, and it's been a really exciting time lately. I have been very blessed to lead this company for the last 15 years, and we started this new year of 2020 on a tear. We have been having record years every year, and for the first quarter, we just absolutely expected this to be a knock it out of the park year. And it surprised us because when we hit the middle of March and we were told that we had to close our doors because we were classified as a non-essential business, we had to shutter everything. The only thing that remained open was a skeleton crew in our service and our parts departments. And as you can see by our showroom, it's pretty bare. I thought maybe we would do some shuffleboard contests or something because we got a lot of space to work with. But all kidding aside, we've been having a really interesting last couple of months because at one point we were actually allowed to open again and begin to sell cars and we did maintain a very, very minimal crew to uphold the social distancing rules and guidelines and to protect our customers and our employees. Apparently that wasn't the case in other locations where they were selling automobiles here in Las Vegas, and so when that was came to light, we were all shut down once again. And but the neat thing is I have always marched to the beat of a different drum. I love the automobile business, but I'm also a pastor. I love people. I love God. I like to do things in a way that shows how much I love others, and that's really the great commandment: love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And so this business is always run differently. And one thing that we've been doing for many years is we have been focusing on reaching out and allowing customers to purchase cars digitally, going online and working with our website, working with some of the people behind the scenes and transacting business without ever stepping foot on the showroom floor. Well, we've taken that to the next level. And now we have most of our crews still operating off-site. Even though you might see a few in the background here today, we have had a soft opening. We still can't put cars on the showroom floor. We are still limiting our contact with customers, and we really are trying to continue to maintain the social distancing guidelines, but accommodate people's needs. I think that we have seen with this change in the way that we are selling automobiles, the way that we are greeting customers, I think we're going to see some permanent changes to this industry. And my recommendations to those of you that are also in the automobile business, we've got a great opportunity to make some fundamental changes that are going to create a better buying experience, a better shopping experience, a better service and customer experience. And as we've all grown very accustomed to buying things on Amazon, which I know hurts some of our local businesses, our brick and mortar stores and very established businesses, but we get used to that point and click and purchase ability, and then that thing arrives in the mail a day later or 2 days later, and it's so easy. It really does simplify and streamline our lives. Well, that I think is the way the automobile business is going to go. Is people are going to be more able and more accustomed to trusting the tools online, valuing your trade-ins, checking your credit, applying for credit, shopping for a car that you haven't even driven yet. Come down and drive the car before you take delivery. And with our online experience, we've adopted a 5-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked, policy, and so it really does help customers have that peace of mind that they're gonna be happy with their purchase. And it's been interesting working with my staff to adapt to the new normal. One of the things that I think is going to change for us is I think that when the economy begins to rebound and our business begins to rebound, it could in fact create more business for automobile retailers. I say that because people aren't going to be driving quite as much or riding quite as much in buses or maybe on planes. Even hailing an Uber or a Lyft. You're going to have second thoughts. Am I going to do that? Do I want to be that close to somebody else? And so we've already seen people that have been accustomed to public transportation have been going back and choosing to go back into purchasing their own cars. Now, I really believe as a Subaru retailer, we really put the environment first and foremost. We're stewards. We're stewards of this planet. One thing that we've seen during this economic and total shutdown across the planet is we've seen blue skies return to places that haven't seen blue skies in 30 years. And so I think that the green aspect of mobility, electrification of our automobiles. I believe we're going to see a lot more of that, and people adopting, more ecologically responsible ways of getting around. So I just want to say it's been a blessing to be here and to lead our team through this time. And I have hope. I have great hope that there are better days ahead, and we're just going to do our very best to lead this city back to where it was and even better.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Burton, for your time, man. That was some awesome encouragement from a very positive aspect of your business. So I really appreciate your time, man.
Thank you, brother.
And can't wait till this showroom fills back up and be back to business. But like you said, online sales are another positive way to get things going. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mark.
We will prevail. We will go on. We will overcome. We are Vegas Strong.